Okay, so we're going to have a look at feedback on that prep that you did. So the first bit was about what we mean by a content analysis. So this sort of feedback is useful for any of these questions. If you get a short answer question like this, it's really the same sort of approach that I want you to learn and to be able to use. Okay, so we need a little definition. When it says outline what is meant, it's really asking you for 2 AO1 marks, 2 descriptive fact knowledge marks. Okay, so we have to have something very precise there. And a lot of your answers were really woolly and really waffly. You need to say for this one, it's a method. A content analysis is a method used. Okay, what's it doing? It's analysing communication. So, and then to be honest, they just want some extra detail for that. So what sort of communication? We've referred to adverts. So it could be a one-way communication like adverts or books, or a two-way communication like a conversation. And that's it for 2 marks. Okay, so very straightforward, but it has to be precise. And some of you were picking up, I think you'd Googled answers and all sorts. Go for my sheets, right? Just use the notes I give you. That's, I've spent a while getting them all together, making sure they're precise, looking at mark schemes, making sure I'm going on what they want to see. So just use those. All right, next bit is if they ask you to discuss or evaluate a content analysis, let's just look at those 2 words there. What we're trying to do, let's just highlight that a little bit. Okay, so if we use the highlighter, right, this word discuss and this word evaluate, really asking for the same things. All right, so if you ask to discuss or evaluate anything, they are wanting positives and negatives. So discuss or evaluate content analysis, you are asked to outline really a strength or a weakness. So let's have a look at those. One strength is, we know already, it converts qualitative data into quantitative data. That's actually just fact. We need to make it a strength. What's so good about that? Well, it makes it easier to compare data, put into graphs, etc., etc. Okay, so we're really having to say, first little bit is really the factual bit, then we actually add something to make that a strength or a weakness. So we would be looking, if this was a real exam question, we'd be looking at how many marks, and that would guide us. It may be, if that's for 2 marks, that would be enough. If you were asked for a 3rd mark or even more, then you need to develop it a little bit. So we could say strength is this, blah, 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 blah. However, all right, those linking words, however, one weakness is that it can be subjective. Why? Excuse the little error there. Because it's a form of observation, and therefore the problem with that is, as you know, okay, let's use this same colour, it is prone to, or it has observer bias. Right, it's likely to have some observer bias. What do we mean by that? Where the observer interprets what's observed from their subjective viewpoint. Okay. Let's go on. The next question that you had for prep was the Jemima one. Okay, right. This is a very specialist sort of question. Let's have a look at that one. This is a really very typical question. It's called an application question. And it's really very easy to do once you know how to do it. So I want to just spend some time going over this. Really want you to practice this and think about it when you're doing these. Okay, so whenever you have an application question, they're going to expect you to apply your knowledge to those characters. If there are 2 characters, you need to apply it to each of them, most likely, nearly always. Okay, so there will most likely, this has got Jemima and Abby. They'll be wanting you to make reference to Jemima separately to Abby, in terms of whatever they're asking about. Okay, look at the question. Usually, sorry, the other thing I should say, usually they allow for 2 AO2 marks because you're going to refer to Jemima and Abby, so that's 2 different application marks. Right, first thing to note is that this question has 2 parts. Right, so, and you need to answer both parts. So what is the first bit? Right, look at this. Question is, what is meant by sex role stereotyping? Second question is to refer to the conversation in your answer. Okay, so we've got 2 parts of the question. First bit is what is meant by sex role stereotyping. Second bit is refer to the conversation. A lot of you, when you were doing this, you just ignored part of this question. You didn't even see. It was almost like you didn't notice what the first part was, right? You're just throwing marks away. It's so easy to grab these marks if you know how. So we've got to really practice this. So it asks you, first of all, what is meant by sex role stereotyping? All they mean by that is define it. Okay. Having said that, you need a precise definition. So what would we say is sex role stereotyping? So look at your definition sheet. What does it say at the bottom? And this is your definition sheet of all the things like gender roles, sex, gender, etc., etc. Again, a lot of you just seem to Google and come up with some waffly answer. You must be precise. So what's needed here? Let's have a look. Sex role or gender stereotypes. This is what it says on your sheet. Refers to the belief about what is appropriate, typical behaviour for males and females in a given society at a given time. All right, it's an expectation of appropriate behaviour. And you could then develop it. You don't need to for this particular question. It doesn't ask you to give an example because we're going to use it as an application question. But you do need to define this properly. Okay, look at that. How many of you actually gave an answer like that? They weren't as precise as that, and therefore you're really in danger of just losing that mark. Okay, so let's look at the question again. It asks us what is meant by sex role stereotyping, and then refer to the conversation. So we've defined it, we've written our definition, and then refer to each character. Apply that definition to Jemima, apply it to Abby. All right, so application mark. So Jemima thinks she's going to be a builder. So what does that tell us about her in terms of her stereotypes? Okay, it tells us that Jemima thinks she's going to be a builder because she hasn't yet got a very clear identity or a very clear stereotype of what, or a clear idea of what she should be doing as a girl. Okay, so she thinks it's okay to be a builder as a girl. So she hasn't already got fixed stereotypes. Abby, on the other hand, says, and it's useful always to just give a little quote like this, only boys can be builders, because she already has a fixed stereotype. Okay, so really straightforward when you know how to do it. So have a look at some of the other questions, see if you could do those.